Yo, what is good, everybody? It is your boy Golden Falls, Golden What Ifs, whatever you want to call me, and I am back. This is a brand new What If Tandreo could use the Kaio-Ken. As always, if you guys enjoyed, show some love, leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below, all that good stuff. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the video overall. Make sure to check the links in the description for the Discord, the Spotify, all that good stuff. And I don't want to waste much more of your time, and I want to get right into the video. So, yeah, let's get it. Tanjiro Kamado, well, he's born in the world he knows the most. He is born in a world that things are simple. Things are relaxing. Things are very straightforward. He's a family person. He helps take care of his family. He does what he can, so on and so forth. But one day would change it all. Normally, Tandreo would go down the mountain and help his family with, you know, getting some money, getting some things for the new year and stuff like that. But this time around, he doesn't actually go anywhere. He doesn't leave at all. But what does happen, something that is insane, is a demon would show up, aka Muzan would show up to turn his sister into a demon. But since Tandreo was there, well, Tandreo would fall victim just as much as his entire family. But in doing so, what happens? There's somebody currently watching. Somebody actually watching very, very closely. Actually, two people. One person that is basically the guardian of allowing people into the afterlife. And the other person is known as King Kai. They're watching this and they see and they foresee something in the boy Tandreo, foresee something deep inside of him that could allow him to help fix everything that is going on Earth right now. Because everything that is happening on Earth, they want it to stop, but they have no idea what they can do. And frankly, they can't really do much to get involved, but they do know that something needs to happen. And if something doesn't happen quick enough, well, things could go really wrong, really fast. And frankly, there's a good chance that people could start losing their lives even faster. And that's something that worries them very, very much so. So at the end of the day, they're going to do their absolute best. Their absolute best to do something. They want to do something. So what they decide to do is they take Tandreo in his actual physical form and they tell him exactly what happened, what's going on, and what's basically what is happening in general. And he's in shock. He's like, "Whoa, are you serious? Like you can't be serious. Like, my family, it's over. They're gone. Like, what can I do? What should I do? Is there anything I can do? Blah blah blah." And obviously, there's very little he could actually do at this point. Very little in general as well. But the thing is, he has a choice to make. Does he allow himself to go on to the afterlife? Just, you know, continue on and, you know, approach in that direction. Decide, hey, you know what? I'm going to leave. I'm going to stay with my family in the afterlife, and that's what it's going to be. Or do I decide to do something different? Do I decide to go with this man known as King Kai, and do I become something else? Become something greater? And that is something that he has to truly figure out in his own head. And eventually, well, he would decide that that's what he's going to do. He would decide that he's going to do something different. He's going to become something different. And he's going to truly, truly help people everywhere. He believes that he can do something greater. He believes that he could truly help so many people. So many. Now, is any of this a guarantee? Can any of this happen for sure? He doesn't know. And there is no guarantee in life for any of this that could potentially happen. But he does know that they have to do something. And that something needs to be now. So that's what he does. He immediately is thinking, all right, you know what? Something has to be done. I need to get something done. I need to get stronger. I need to get more prepared. I need to somehow save people. And that's something he looks at as well. He sees that his sister, yes, his sister Nezuko is now a demon, and she needs his help more than ever. She needs his help more than you could possibly imagine. And that's something that Tandreo thinks about too, because he's thinking, no, I can't just leave my sister on her own. I can't just leave her and have her, get hurt or injured or anything like that. I can't. I will not, and I cannot allow that to happen. So Tandreo knows he has to do something, and King Kai offers him a way to do just that. And that way, the way to do anything, is through something that is known as the Kaioken. Something that King Kai has mastered and truly has understood to a degree that nobody can even freaking imagine. But at the same time, well, let's just say Tandreo has a lot of work to do and has very little time to basically do it. Because, well, yes, time does, react differently where they are currently, but it doesn't change the fact that it's not going to be easy, right? It's not going to be simple. None of it is going to be simple. But at the same time, everybody truly knows that something else could truly happen here. And Tandreo, well, he begins to learn. He begins to figure things out. He begins to learn as much as possible. And that includes learning something known as the Kaio-Ken. And time may be moving slower, but the Kaio-Ken is not an easy thing to figure out, and it takes him quite a while to figure it out. The Kaio-Ken is one hell of a strenuous ability, and Tandreo, well, he's doing everything in his power to figure it out, learn it, and try to figure anything out just a little bit after a little bit. He's trying to figure any of it out. And he knows that there's a struggle behind it, and he knows that he is going to struggle massively behind it. But at the same time, he knows that he needs to do something, so that's what he does. Learns the Kaio-Ken, prepares himself at an insane rate, prepares himself kind of like to a degree that nobody has thought about, and Tandreo pushes his body beyond everything. And it starts just as normal, like a normal training session, and just doing things normally. And he also then moves to King Kai's planet, which is at an insane gravity level, which it takes him an entire year in the afterlife to actually deal with. Luckily enough, there's some things that have been, situated where Nezuko kind of is okay. Now, we don't know where Nezuko is, like he legitimately doesn't really know, but he knows that Nezuko is okay. At least to an extent. She could be in danger before you know it, but he knows that at least for now, she's safe. And after a long time up in the sky, basically up in the heavens, he finally would come back down, more prepared than ever, on the search for his little sister. And that's what he would be doing, searching for his little sister. But the thing is, he can't find her anywhere, can't figure it out, can't figure any of it out, and he doesn't know where the hell she could even be. Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to him. Like, how can she be gone? Like, she's completely gone. She's out of here. He doesn't understand. He doesn't get it. He doesn't understand how, where, or anything along those lines. And he's thinking to himself, like, okay, what can I do? What can I do to figure this out? What can I do to figure out where Nezuko is? What can I do to figure out any of this, like any of it? And of course, he struggles. He has a hard time finding Nezuko and has a hard time finding his sister. But eventually, he would find her. Eventually, he would actually come across her. And luckily enough, she's just hidden away. He doesn't know what happened or what transpired during that time, but he finds her and finds her that she's hidden away. And he eventually would take her and kind of get into a good spot or a better spot to where they're both safe to a certain extent. But of course, they're not going to be safe always and forever. And Tandreo knows that. He knows that they're not always going to be safe. But luckily, someone will actually show up. Somebody who they know or they don't know actually. And someone who they'll learn about very, very soon would show up. And that's would be Urokodaki. Urokodaki would show up, and this would be just monumental for Tandreo. This would be the chance he needed to train chance he needed to get stronger and the chance he needed to obviously get better. And this was truly his opportunity and truly his chance to take his kind of skill, take his strength, take his ability to the very next level. And that right there is truly his chance, his opportunity. And Tandreo, well, he puts his best foot forward that he possibly can, and he basically approaches things completely with with as much just wanting to learn and wanting to know knowledge and how to train and all this stuff. And he tries to learn everything from this man, everything from Urokodaki. And he basically talks to him, learns from him, and breaks everything down from him. And he would eventually start learning about water breathing and stuff like that. And everything that he has learned from King Kai, everything that he's figured out, now helps him to a drastic degree, because Tandreo is learning everything you could possibly think of in terms of fighting style, in terms of slicing and swordsmanship and all of the above. But then he shows Urokodaki something, shows him what he can do. He shows him the Kaio-Ken. And the Kaio-Ken is something he can't really use beyond legitimately just base Kaio-Ken. Legitimately just a passive kind of push in terms of his strength and speed. Other than that, though, he can't even rank it up to 2 times. Like, he legitimately can use it as a base, right? And as a tool to power him up and make his body at its peak level. Something that, Goku or something that those other fighters that have utilized it have done in the past. But since they have, amped it up and understood it and controlled it so much greater, they could use it in a 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, and so on fashion. But he can only use it in a simple fashion of just legitimately boosting his kind of strength and speed very, very slightly. Because he knows that if he ranks it up to 2 times, it will destroy his body. At least that's what he understands for now, until he learns more and more about something known as ki. He doesn't know too much about it, and they didn't have enough time to really break down everything, but he understands the premise of ki, how to utilize it to an extent, but he also knows that he really, really needs to stay completely focused, completely ready, and just, under control, because if he's not careful, there's a really good chance that he just croaks over and his body absolutely destroys itself. And in all honesty, that is the last thing he would want to occur. He would definitely not want his body to just obliterate itself. So he's going to make sure that he keeps tabs on everything, and he's going to make sure to not go too overboard on certain ideas and certain things that he wants to make sure that it doesn't go too insane in terms of legitimately destroying his body. Now, with that said, Tandreo goes through Urokodaki's training, fully goes through all of his training, and this would obviously lead him to getting quite a bit stronger, quite a bit better, and all of the above, really getting way further in kind of the idea of everything that he's been training for, and so on and so forth. And yeah, eventually he would perfect, or at least to an extent perfect, the things he needed to learn, and perfect to the certain things that he needed to figure out. And luckily enough, he figures those things out, and it prepares him for what we know as the final selection. But the final selection, Tanjiro goes over there after training, after learning from the ghosts of kind of Sabito and Makomo and those people. After training with them, he's able to utilize Kaio-Ken at its very base, but it makes him so much more powerful and so much more capable that he's able to legitimately clear the entirety of the final selection before you know it. And everybody is in awe. They see this red aura just oozing off of him, and they wonder, how is he doing that? What's going on? I've never seen a breathing style this way, and there's a lot of questions. But before the questions could come in and really be asked, Tandreo was already out of there after slaying every demon, including the hand demon, getting revenge for his, well, pseudo family as well, and heading right back to Mount Sagiri to see Urokodaki and his little sister Nezuko. And of course, this is when he would embark on his first mission as a demon slayer, meeting up with someone by the name of Kazumi, and of course, some crazy stuff is going down. We obviously learn about the kidnappings and some sort of demon, and Tandreo says that he'll be waiting here. He'll be waiting here at night to make sure that he can handle the demon that shows up, and when it shows up, he will handle his business. And when this conversation ends, he starts realizing something. He starts realizing that this is why he was brought to that other world. This is why he was trained by legitimately a god, and this is why he was prepared in such way, because he realizes and learns that, guess what? All of this is for a reason. Every single little bit. All of it is for a reason, and at the end of the day, it seems as if people all around, there's a good chance that these people cannot defend themselves, cannot really help themselves, and he knows that they have to be the ones to do so. They have to be the ones to help those in need, and they have to be the ones to do their absolute best, and that's exactly what he's thinking about. He needs to be a part of it. He needs to be a part of everything that is occurring, and he needs to be a part of kind of like this next generation that could stop this horrible madness from occurring. This is what needs to be done, and this is what needs to happen. And as the night would fall, and eventually the demon would come out, the swamp demon would ensue, there is no waiting, there is no kind of lollygagging or anything. Tandreo would go to end the demon as quick as possible, as swiftly as possible, and he would do just that. So much so that he would actually kind of get a little bit riled up and angry to the point where he actually utilizes Kaio-Ken at 2 times, unknowingly doing so, slicing the neck off the demon instantly, like legitimately instantly, and he feels his body turn, twist, pull, and ache, and he realizes, oh my goodness, okay, so this is what it feels like. This is what it's going to feel like. But he realizes that it's doable. He can hold it. He can kind of feel the pain, but he can understand it, and he can make sure that his body can get more prepared, and he knows he could use it in small bursts, because he just did right there unknowingly, like without truly realizing he was going to utilize it, and that helps him greatly. Something that he wants to lean on, but something he doesn't want to overuse, so he doesn't crash and burn his body till there's nothing left. Now this would ensue in him kind of helping out the village just a little bit until it's all over and done with. He obviously slayed the swamp demon, but then he would head off to his next encounter. His next encounter would be at the city that never sleeps, and it would be his first encounter with Muzan. And Muzan, well, he's not much to chat with. He doesn't want to talk. Obviously, Tandreo, he's mad, he's angry, saying this and that. But Muzan turns somebody into a demon and sends him after him. Pretty quickly, in fact. Because when Tandreo would get met up by 2 other demons by the name of Tamayao and Yushiro, before you know it, when they're chatting about, okay, how are we going to save Nezuko? How are we going to turn her back into a human? Blah, blah, blah. After that is ensued, right after that conversation is had, 2 demons would show up, Susumaru and Yahaba, and Tandreo, well, he would not be wanting to have any conversations, no lollygag, no nothing. He wants to take these 2 out now. Now, it's a little bit more difficult than the swamp demon. These 2 are pretty damn strong. Tandreo struggles somewhat to an extent, but he kind of ramps up his Kaio-Ken once again, using it at that base level where it's only small, little, tiny bits of kind of elevation in terms of strength and power and speed, and he uses it to kind of keep up with the speed that these demons are portraying. And he knows that with this alone, he can take on these two. He can defeat these two. But with the help of Lady Tamayao, Nezuko, and Yushiro, they're able to truly sweep through these two demons and defeat them before, well, any more trouble would ensue. And, well, let's just say after they're defeated, Yushiro and Lady Tamayao ask about the power that he just betrayed. And they ask him a lot of questions about how he was able to do it, what is happening, and how it occurred. And they also ask him a couple questions about the fact that, like, how was he able to do it, right? How was he able to really do that, and where's that strength coming from? And he basically tells him, like, look, the strength for the most part comes from a ability or a kind of a training mechanism that they utilize known as the Kaio-Ken, and it allows him, well, to do quite a bit in terms of his strength, in terms of his ability, in terms of so much that they wouldn't really believe to a certain extent. And he tells them at the end of the day, it's something that he's learned and something that he'll continue to progress and learn more and more about, because it's something that he truly believes is going to help him and so many others before you could possibly even know it. And they hear this from Tandreo and they're thinking, okay, like, we hear you, kid. Like, we get it. We 100% understand where you're coming from. This ability, like, it might be helpful for other demon slayers. It might be, helpful for them to learn it. And he says, like, maybe it will be, but he has no idea if he can teach it. He has no idea if the person that taught him it would teach them it either. He might just be on his own, at least in that regard. And eventually that conversation would end, and they would basically send him off and let him leave, as he would head off to another place to take out some demons, which would be a nearby mansion that he would run into one of his companions, or a new companion that he just meets, known as Zenitsu, getting him to come help him away from a girl that he's begging to basically become his wife. Zenitsu goes with Tandreo, and Tandreo just says, stay close, everything will be okay, blah, blah, blah. And he would listen, but unfortunately, the mansion itself would have its other twists and turns, and Nezuko would have to deal with things on his own. But Tandreo, well, he would have to deal with a demon that is of a kind of Kizuki type caliber. He's no longer part of the 12 Kizuki, but he once was. And Tandreo encounters Kyogai and has to take him on one-on-one. At least initially, that's what he was thinking. Because Inosuke, someone else with a boar mask, would come out of nowhere and just be like there and basically trying to fight anything in his sight. But luckily enough, Tandreo was able to kind of calm things down to an extent. And eventually he gets his fight with Kyogai. And Tandreo decides that this might be a time for a small burst of Kaio-Ken, in which immediately Tandreo would charge up and he would kind of hold his sword in a way that it looked like he's going to strike. Kyogai would question what he's doing, and immediately Tandreo would say, Kaio-Ken. And as he says this, he says ×2, and he would dash at Kyogai as Kyogai is saying, Kaio what? And as he says it, immediately Tandreo would slice the neck straight off of Kyogai, and Tandreo would collapse to the ground in, well, pain. I mean, it would hurt. And he would realize that he really needs to get his body properly trained and ready, even more than what it is, so that the ×2 Kaio-Ken doesn't take such an insane toll when he utilizes it for only just a split second. I mean, it hurts. It hurts bad. It doesn't make it so he can't walk or do anything like that. He can definitely still fight, but it hurts. Like, it's like a pain that he definitely doesn't want to inflict on himself. But luckily, he's able to handle the demon known as Kyogai, get the blood from the demon to send to Lady Tamayao, and then he is now ready and prepared to exit the mansion. And as he exits that mansion, well, he would see Nezuko, well, in her box, and Zenitsu protecting it from Inosuke. And Inosuke would be going crazy, trying to get into the box, trying to hurt the box, trying to kill the box. But of course, Zenitsu would help out and protect it with his life. And eventually, well, it seems like Inosuke would chill out a little bit and calm down after Tanjiro would go head to head with him in a fight. But while they're fighting, it's actually a lot closer even without Kaio-Ken, because Tanjiro's just fighting ability is a lot better than it would be in its normal state, just in a normal change of pace. And his body itself is a lot more powerful too, just naturally, because of all the kind of insane training he's done. Because yes, he was under 10 times gravity, but he wasn't under it like all the time. Of course, this is because King Kai understood that the kid wouldn't be able to survive in that all the time. It would just be impossible for him to do so, especially in the time that they were allotted. But they did their best with what they had, and Tanjiro was able to keep up, if not outclass Inosuke in a fighting style, fighting hand-to-hand combat ability. And eventually, he's defeated, and Tanjiro tells him that he has to basically fall in line for now, right? He understands that, Inosuke wants this or that, or wants to do this, but he has to fall in line, at least right now, because, well, they have a lot to do, a lot to handle, and a lot to deal with. And the last thing he wants to be dealing with is Inosuke going crazy about this or that, or doing this or doing that. And he's telling him, like, chill out, take a breath, don't do all this, nonsense. And and that's what he basically gets him to just chill out and stop doing. And Tandreo, for the most part, kind of leads them in the right direction in terms of what they should be doing, what they should be handling, and what they should be getting into. And with that said, this would eventually push them in the direction of kind of, dealing with, another mission. But before this mission begins, they actually get a chance to take a bit of a break, right? A bit of a time off, or a bit of a timeout, where they can at least take a chance, take a breather, and, not completely lose their minds. And that, of course, is always good. It's always good to take a breather and take a chance and take a breath from everything that's occurring. Excuse me. So it's always good for them to take that moment, and that's exactly what they're able to do. They're able to take that moment and take a chance to relax. And this old lady actually feeds them and stuff like that, which is always good and always a good thing to especially be grateful for as well. And that's what happens. That's what ensues for the next little bit. And Tandreo, well, he has kind of something to really do and something to look forward to, especially with wanting to train with these two other demon slayers, but also to work with so many more. He believes like this could be truly helpful. Like this could really help everyone, everything, and there could be some really, really good things that occur because of, everybody that's around. And he believes like having more people working with him, having more people around, and all this other stuff, like this could truly be something great. This could be truly something helpful for him and also helpful for everybody else. Now, with that said, though, Tandreo would then basically push them to going on to their next mission. Now, their next mission is something of a kind of scary one because it's at a mountain known as Mount Natagumo. Now, Mount Natagumo seems to be overrun with demons, or a family of demons, and even a lot of demon slayers are getting lost up there. So Tandreo and Inosuke, discover these demon slayer puppets, and this is a scary sight, a very scary one. But Tandreo and Inosuke are able to handle the puppets, getting them somewhat to safety depending on the circumstance. Some of them are, unfortunately sent to the afterlife, but they do their best, and eventually their eyes are definitely locked on to trying to find the mother spider demon. But first, they have to take on the mother spider demon's doll, which Tandreo, with his enhanced speed and strength, is able to hold it off, while Inosuke comes from above to actually take out that doll, or mother spider demon's doll. And as Inosuke would handle that, they would then prepare to eliminate the mother spider demon, which in one foul swoop, Tandreo would be able to do so, but he would utilize a technique that would make it so that she wouldn't go through like this ridiculously insane pain that she possibly could have if he decided, you know what, I'm going to let you have it. I don't care that that like you're sad about this or sad about that. Like, he could have just decided to do whatever he wanted to do, but he decided, you know what, I'm going to take it easy. I'm not going to make you freaking get hurt like that. So he doesn't, right? He helps out where he can, and he eliminates her in a very peaceful way to an extent. And of course, this is when Tandreo would eliminate that demon and be on the lookout to basically take out any other demon. But as they're kind of looking for any other of these family demons that are around, eventually he would come across the father demon. Unable to actually react to that demon, at least before something occurred, he had no idea he was even there. He would get slapped across the mountain all the way to where the main demon is, known as Rui, who is berating his quote-unquote sister. And Tandreo, well, he does not take this lightly, and he says that he has a sister of his own and they should be treated with the utmost respect. But Rui, he doesn't see it this way, and he doesn't care what Tandreo thinks, what Tandreo says, and what Tandreo believes. And he tells him that he'll be taking his sister after he defeats Tandreo right here and right now. But Tandreo, hearing this, something awakens inside of him, a rage and anger that he refuses to even think about the consequences of utilizing Kaio-Ken. And before you know it, he's utilizing it 2 times. And as he's utilizing it at a 2x multiplier, not only would his aura all around him spark up a red, but his sword would glow brighter than you could imagine as he utilizes the power of the sun, utilizing the Hinokami Kagura. And as he's utilizing it, well, let's just say Nezuko is right beside him, going to attack Rui at the same time. And Rui's in shock. He's never seen a human move this fast. He's never thought this would ensue or this could occur. He never knew that someone could even do this. And before you know it, Rui's neck would be off of his body. But he would basically believe that this is not over. That Rui basically says oh, you think you defeated me? That's cute. Really, yeah, you were fast, you were quick, but I can see that you're slowing down. I can see that your body can handle whatever you just did. But Tandreo stands his ground, refusing to give up, refusing to let up. But as he's ready to strike down once again, ready to basically sacrifice his body once again, someone would tap him on the shoulder. He would turn his head and he would see somebody that he's actually never seen before. His name is Giyu Tomioka, and Giyu tells him that he will handle the rest. He stalled enough, he gave enough time, and luckily for the infinite babbling that this demon has done, well, it seems like Tandreo, well, he can take a back step and doesn't have to fight any longer. Tandreo would then back up as he can feel his body just, being sore and hurting a lot more. And maybe what that guy said, the demon said, was right. Maybe he's right? Yes, I am hurting. Yes, I am weaker. Yes, it hurts my body, but it doesn't mean it's over. Tandreo watches as Giyu would defeat this demon so easily, and another mindset would creep into Tandreo's mind, thinking that everything that he's done so far is so little. He needs to do more. He needs to be better, because at the end of the day, 2 times, Kaio-Ken times 2 is only 2 times a person's strength and a person's power. So if his power is lacking, so is the Kaio-Ken, and that's on him. So he watches as Giyu handles the job, and he's just in shock and awe. But as he's watching all this happen, he's then knocked out, and his little sister is taken as well, and they're taken away and basically put on a prosecution, basically told like, well, who's to say that we shouldn't end you and this and that. But luckily enough, a letter would come, and Urokodaki would even get Gyu Tomioka to vouch as well. Someone who has no idea who this person is, but takes the word of his master very, very, very seriously, or his sensei very seriously. So they both agree that if Nezuko touches, kills, or hurts a human, that they will be held responsible just as much, but to give this kid a chance because he has potential beyond anybody's imagination, because he was trained by something that is unspeakable and something that they would never be able to understand. And they decide, the master of all the demon slayers, Ubuyashiki, would decide, you know what? Fine. Agreed. We're going to give Nezuko the chance. And they are demon slayers, and that includes Nezuko. And we're going to give them the benefit of the doubt. And we're going to give them an opportunity to prove themselves. And that's exactly what Tanjiro is going to do as he trains, prepares, and he gets everything in order for this entire situation, where he's now rehabilitating, he's getting more powerful, and he's preparing his Kaio-Ken and his own body to an even larger degree, something that he believes would make even Rui light work, even any other demon, make it look very easy. But he better hope that this training is enough, and eventually learning more about his own breathing style known as sun breathing from Rengoku would be enough, because he has one of the most insane, one of the most horrible battles ahead of him, a battle that he will never forget, but a battle that will tell them and all the demon slayers that the demons, especially Muzan, fear Tanjiro just as much as humans fear demons. But with that said, if you enjoyed, show some love. Leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below, all that good stuff. I know I had to change some things that technically, if you go to the Dragon Ball universe, it's not fully canon, right? It doesn't fully make sense, or it doesn't follow that logic. I decided to kind of mix up the logic a little bit, just to make things make a little bit more sense and a little bit more in terms of a narrative perspective. But I hope you guys still enjoyed. If you did, like I said, leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below, all that good stuff. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and hope all y'all have an amazing day. Later.